Hello everyone, and welcome back to our channel. If you're passionate about South African politics and care about the deeper stories behind the headlines, you're in the right place. Today, we are unpacking a politically charged and emotionally gripping development from within the ranks of the Economic Freedom Fighters, a party known for discipline, uniformity, and strong public symbolism. But this weekend, that image took a knock. Dr. Ndlozi, the beloved firebrand, scholar, and former national spokesperson of the EFF, was nowhere to be seen at the party's National People's Assembly. For a figure so central to the party's identity and trajectory, his absence was not just strange, it was seismic. For many ordinary supporters, Ndlozi isn't just another member of the Central Command. He's seen as the People's Commissar, the poetic voice of reason who often brought emotional depth and ideological clarity to the EFF's message. When he speaks, even critics admit he commands the room, articulating revolutionary politics in a way that's both sophisticated and accessible. And yet, when the Red Berets gathered to debate the party's future, Dr. Ndlozi was glaringly missing. No explanation. No acknowledgement. Just silence. That silence has created a vacuum, and in South African politics, a vacuum is never empty for long. Supporters immediately took to social media to express their confusion, concern, and in some cases, outright suspicion. Why wasn't the people's favorite invited, some asked. Is Ndlozi being sidelined because he speaks too freely, too independently? And those aren't just trollish whispers, they reflect a real anxiety about possible factional cracks within one of the most disciplined political formations in the country. And then came the statement from the Progressive Caucus, a less visible, yet increasingly vocal faction within the EFF. They issued a strong message of support for Dr. Ndlozi, demanding that his rights within the movement be respected. Let that sink in, they had to demand that he be treated fairly. That's not the kind of language used when someone is merely taking time off for personal reasons. That sounds like an ideological battle line being drawn. The Progressive Caucus didn't hold back. Their statement accused the leadership of marginalizing key figures who represent what they called true revolutionary consciousness. In simpler terms, some believe the EFF may be losing its ideological soul, and Ndlozi, in their eyes, is that soul. So, was his absence strategic, or enforced? It's hard to ignore the timing. This assembly wasn't just an annual check-in, it was a moment to evaluate the party's internal cohesion ahead of 2020 SIX's local government elections. Internal dynamics were already tense, with growing concerns about how the EFF balances party loyalty with independent intellectual voices. Ndlozi's academic background and eloquent, at times unorthodox positions have occasionally placed him at odds with the more militarized and centralized tone of the party. Let's be blunt, the EFF prides itself on discipline. The leadership is top-down. Deviations are not just frowned upon, they're often punished. Members who step out of line are reassigned, demoted, or quietly erased from the public eye. Could Ndlozi be the latest to feel that weight? Let's not forget that Dr. Ndlozi has already been less visible in recent years. After serving as national spokesperson and being a regular presence in Parliament, his appearances dwindled. While some assumed he was focused on academic pursuits, others suspected internal tensions. His rare public interventions, such as criticism of Israel's actions in Gaza or poetic reflections on African identity, hinted that his ideological depth might not always align neatly with the party's current strategies, especially as it courts broader voter appeal. There's also the human dimension. For many young EFF members, particularly students and emerging activists, Ndlozi is not just a politician. He's a role model. A black excellence story. A thinker. His disappearance from a foundational event like the NPA wasn't just disappointing, it felt like a betrayal of the emotional investment in the movement. And so, without clarity from the leadership, speculation grows. Some wonder if Julius Malema, the commander-in-chief himself, is slowly surrounding himself only with those who will not challenge him ideologically. Others suggest this may be part of a broader realignment in preparation for potential coalition politics, where pragmatism may override revolutionary idealism. But there's another layer. What does this say about internal democracy in the EFF? If a figure as celebrated and respected as Ndlozi can be excluded, without explanation, what chance does an ordinary ground force member have when they feel sidelined or silenced? The EFF has always presented itself as the vanguard of radical economic transformation, a home for the dispossessed and the silenced. Yet here we are, with whispers of silencing from within. If the leadership doesn't urgently clarify Ndlozi's absence, they risk losing the moral high ground they've so carefully cultivated over the past decade. As of now, no official statement has been made. And that silence? It's political. Whether intentional or negligent, it speaks volumes. Some loyalists are holding out hope that Dr. Ndlozi will soon return with clarity, and perhaps even a new role. Others fear that this marks the beginning of a slow and painful sidelining of the party's intellectuals, a trend not uncommon in revolutionary movements as they shift from protest to power. Whatever the truth may be, one thing is certain: Dr. Ndlozi's absence has exposed an uncomfortable truth about the EFF, that even the most ideologically pure and beloved among them are not immune to the hidden currents of party politics. And perhaps that's the real tragedy here. That a movement born out of defiance and democratic rebellion could now be haunted by whispers of internal suppression. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think Ndlozi is being pushed out? Is this part of a strategic reshuffle, or is something deeper at play? And what does this mean for the future of the EFF? Don't forget to like this video if you found it informative, subscribe for more in-depth South African political commentary, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a story the mainstream media won't always cover. Thanks for watching, and as always, stay curious, stay critical. See you next time.